This research is about the role of multilateral development banks and how they cooperate with national development banks. So it first looks at the functions of banks, second, and where they are stronger or weaker in terms of regional representation, and finally, what roles they play in climate change adaptation and mitigation. The first key finding is that the multilateral development banks play a very important counter-cyclical role. That is, they support very much the recovery of economies after crisis. This role is crucial under the current conditions as they have to support emerging and developing countries overcome the effects of the COVID-19 crisis. It also looks at the structural issues that the banks have to support. And in that regard, let me perhaps emphasize that they do work very well in terms of infrastructure financing, in some social sectors, in supporting financial inclusion. But in my analysis, they should strengthen their cooperation in terms of climate change adaptation and mitigation on the one hand, and in supporting innovative sectors of the economies in order to facilitate faster economic growth. The most important point that I make is that the development banks have to work as a system. That is, the World Bank with the regional development banks or regional and national development banks cooperate with each other in order to fulfill the functions that I mentioned. And in that regard, the one thing that I find missing in the current context is how the multilateral banks work with national development banks. So that should be a basic issue going forward. And how the multilateral banks can support the development of national development banks in the regions where they are lagging, which is essentially sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. That is the poorest regions of the world.